What's up, DC Nation? Back to another review of Batman, guys. This is an eventful issue. Very big issue, right? It's Batman number 93. And guys, actually, I didn't even know this comic was coming out this week. I have my whole plans laid out. Flash number 756, Justice number 47, Green Lantern 8th anniversary. But then one of you guys texted me like, hey dude, did you check out Batman number 93? I'm like, wait, what? That's already out this week? I thought that was coming out next week. But I'm actually pretty excited about it. So I read it immediately. And guys, this is a pretty great issue, right? A lot happened in this issue. But guys, before we dive in, this pretty much issue is written by James Tynion IV, and he's been writing this whole story arc. It's been a pretty solid story arc. He's been kind of all over the place at times. Like, the designer is not really proved good as a villain to me, and this issue doesn't really reinforce that at all. Like, he's an okay villain. He's not really great, but the whole twist, who he turns out to be, was pretty well done. It's kind of predictable a little bit, but still pretty good. But guys, what we see in this issue is pretty much it starts out Batman's talking to the designer, because he met up with the designer last issue, which is also a big issue. Batman issue's been really like eventful lately. But we see Batman meet up with the designer, right? And he's talking to him, and he's like, hey, I know what's happening. You sent 5 assassins to Gotham. They're just doing a lot of stuff under my nose I didn't know about. And finally, when I started figuring it out, they already did. Like Deathstroke, Cheshire, Malcolm Merlin, all these different villains at the beginning of the Dark Design story arc, right? But what we also see is that he's like, I know what you were trying to get pretty much all these villains to do, like what your design was. To pretty much have Penguin come the mayor of Gotham City, Riddler take over the police force, Catwoman get pretty much the Wayne Foundation become the richest woman in Gotham City, and then Joker kill Batman and Robin, and then he takes over, so you have pretty much the biggest criminal underworld ever in Gotham. And pretty much Batman tells the designer that, so your plan was to pretty much, you could retire, you've been in this game for a while, but you have people to take over Gotham and rule. It's your big design. Batman's like, I know that pretty much you've been trying to do all this and do it under my nose, so I would see. But Batman's like, I'm figuring it out. I'm gonna beat you. And Batman's like, there's one thing you haven't pretty much figured out, that the Joker, you can't really convince him. You thought he was pretty much like a serial killer, wanting to kill Batman. No, he isn't. Joker always wants to be a Batman. Batman realizes this. Like, Joker can't be alive if Batman's dead. Like, or Joker won't cause chaos if Batman's dead. And that actually showed in a recent storyline in Joker 8th Anniversary, where Batman died and Joker's like, alright, I'll just go get a job. Like, that was the big thing of that storyline, and that pretty much goes further here. But what happens is the designer pretty much takes out a sword. Batman takes out a sword, and they get in a sword fight. It's pretty dope. It's actually pretty cool. They have a sword fight back and forth, and the Batman actually eventually wins, right? He actually beats the designer. It's a pretty cool fight, and we see Batman talk more about the Joker, how pretty much the Joker's like the wild card in this whole situation. Now, we'll get to the twist soon, when Batman beats the designer, who the designer actually is. I'll get to that twist soon, but there's a couple of other things that happen in this issue. What also happens is Catwoman, last issue pretty much got, reached like the underbroker, who he actually has all the stuff of the Wayne Foundation. He works for the designer, and she's like, hey, transfer all that money to me. So pretty much Catwoman can protect it, and Joker or anybody else can't steal the Wayne Foundation. And Catwoman thinks she's doing good. She's like, oh, I convinced him, I blackmailed the underbroker, I got this. Now, meanwhile, Harley is fighting on Punchline, right? It's a pretty cool fight. Harley got like her hammer, pretty much Punchline got knives and stuff, which Punchline's like pretty much the new girlfriend of Joker, like the new partner. And we see him fighting, and Harley's like, you don't know the Joker. You're just a groupie. You're just somebody who's a fan of the Joker. And Punchline's like, oh no, but the Joker thinks I'm funny. And Harley's like, nah, you don't get what the Joker's actually doing. Like, he's actually... he says a lot of people are funny. Batman's funny. He's joking with you. He's gonna hurt you. And Punchline's like, no, the Joker is the hero. He realized that society is bad, and that pretty much he can pretty much cause chaos, kill people, all this stuff. And Harley's like, why would you want to be in that? And Punchline's like, I am pretty much partner up with him because of society, because of what society's doing. And this actually kind of goes back to what the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix was trying to convey, with how pretty much society formed him into the Joker, like all this stuff, like people just casting him aside. That's what's kind of like Punchline is referring to here. So it's very interesting. But we see him fight, but eventually Punchline gets the upper hand Harley and cuts her throat. And we see Harley stop talking, like she tries to save herself, But pretty much Punchline's like pretty much henchmen grab Harley, throw her into the water, and Punchline's like, alright, let's go get Catwoman. So they beat Harley. Like, that just proves it. Punchline beats Harley, and it was a very cool confrontation. I really liked it. But what we see next, guys, is Catwoman's like, hey, okay, so now I have $1 billion in my bank account, I can protect it. But the Underworld's like, no, that's actually not what happened. And Punchline actually shoots Catwoman, Catwoman goes to the ground, and what actually happened was all that money, that $1 billion in the Wayne Foundation, went to the Joker. So it actually went to the Joker's plans, and what we find out is the designer is actually the Joker. The Batman reveals the thing, and pretty much the Joker, it's pretty much just a dead person actually. It's just the old crime lord who died and stuff, and the Joker's speaking through it, and the Joker's like, hey, I'm starting to work you, Batman. This was all to keep you distracted. The designer, Deathstroke, everything going on, so now I can get what I need. And all that $1 billion went to the Joker. He has all the money to pretty much wage war against the Batman. Now the Batman's like, I'm coming after you, but no, he's not, alright? He's not, because Deathstroke shows up, and Deathstroke's like, alright, Joker, this is my final thing, and you pay me. And Joker's like, yeah, go for it. And Deathstroke puts a sword in Batman's knee, and pretty much Batman's bleeding out. And Deathstroke's like, hey, Lucius Fox, I know you're listening to this, because Lucius Fox is pretty much in Batman's ear. You should get a medic. So Batman can't move. He has to wait while all this is happening. And then Deathstroke leaves, and Joker says, hey, show up to where I am, and pretty much, well, my brokers will give you the money, and you can pretty much leave. Leave Gotham City, because it's about to get really dangerous. And we found out how, like, pretty much Joker recruited Deathstroke like a couple months ago in Batman's Secret Files #3. And you guys like to know my thoughts on that whole origin story, check out my review right here. But this pretty much conveys that and shows, like, Deathstroke's role. Now, I think Deathstroke's pretty much done with this story, like, that was it. But Batman is at his lowest point. Like, he's pretty much bleeding, he's not doing well. He just learned that pretty much all his money has went to the Joker. Joker has all the supplies, everything he needs to pretty much wage war against Batman. And that's how this issue ends. Now, we got one more part in this Dark Designs pretty much storyline, which is pretty much like the epilogues and prelude to pretty much the Joker War, which I'm really excited for. It's going to be a big storyline. But big thing to this issue is Harley actually dead. I don't think so, she's not dead. But it was a big moment seeing her get her throat slit. Catwoman, she got beat, Batman got beat, so seeing Joker come do all this was really cool. Now, the designer's identity being the Joker, it wasn't a biggest shock. Like, I wasn't like, oh man, that's a big deal. Nah, I kind of saw it coming in a little bit. Like, I thought it may be Moriarty from the Sherlock Holmes villain, because he's like an old villain. Like, how he talked in one of the previous Batman issues, I was like, hey, that'd be really interesting. But seeing it's just a Joker, it makes sense, but it just shows that the designer was just pretty much all set up. Like, he's not really a great villain. He's actually not even a villain at all. He's just pretty much like a set piece to keep Batman going. The designer is pretty much a plot device to keep Batman going, distracted while Joker wages war and prepares for war against Batman. But guys, overall, this issue was pretty great. It was an eventful issue. The artwork wasn't the best though. Like Julian March's art, I'm not used to the, he's not my favorite artist. And Javier Fernandez, he's okay too, but I hope George Jimenez jumps back in this book soon, because he can really convey great action sequences where these artists can't really at times. Like, it's still solid art, but at times it can look a little weird. Like, at times Julian March just like figures, and when Batman's fighting off against the designer, it looks a little weird, which is not like a big dock on this issue, but I think it would look better with a better artist like George Jimenez. But guys, overall, I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10. I recommend it. It's a great issue. It really sets this all up. It just shows that Joker's one of Batman's best, actually is Batman's best villain. Like, all this stuff coming together. And I'm actually starting to like Punchline a lot more. Like, she's a really cool villain right now. Like, we'll see if she survives Joker War. I don't think she will. But for now, she's a pretty good villain. And actually a good antagonist against Harley. But guys, in the comments below, tell me about this issue. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What do you think about pretty much the Joker being revealed as the designer? What do you think about Harley getting her throat slit? What do you think about all the eventful stuff that happened in this issue? And guys, like the video, give a big thumbs up on YouTube, make subscribe. This is my next Batman comic review. I'll be reviewing this entire series, the Joker War, and I'm really excited, right? But guys, thanks for watching, and peace out.